Hello and welcome to the round ahead. Thank you to Coles. My name is Megan Waters. This is Josh Gabelich and Chad Wingard. And boys, we have a big weekend of footy to cover, so we are going to get stuck straight into it. And Thursday night, we don't have any men's footy to cover, but the AFLW season is back. It is season 10 and we kick it off tomorrow night where it all began at Icon Park, the Blues v the Pies, the OG rivalry, and I am so stoked to have the W back. Friday night footy, the Dons meet the Saints over at Marvel, and this weekend we'll be flicking between both games Friday night because over in WA at Optus Stadium, 4th place Freo will take on 5th placed the Lions. I'm calling it now, Saturday Arvo footy, GWS v Gold Coast Suns. Might just be the game of the round. Then Carlton take on Port Adelaide at Marvel Stadium. It's over to the G for D's v the Hawks. And no doubt the Hawks are still soaring after coming off a statement win against Collingwood. Saturday night we have a blockbuster between the Crows and the Pies. And Sunday Arvo, Richmond take on North Melbourne at Ninja Stadium over in Hobart. The SCG, the Swans will be feeling confident fresh off upsetting Brizzy and looking to do the same against the Cats. And the Dogs host the Eagles at Marvel in the last game of the round. This weekend is going to be very interesting in the way that it shapes the top 8, and I think bring it on.
Can't wait for it, Megsy. I mean, so much on the line for many clubs, but Brisbane is where we should start because Friday night looms as one of the games of the round, and remarkable to think that Brisbane have been inside the top 4 since round 3, never lower than 3rd, currently outside the double chances after the loss on Saturday against Sydney. So they're not a guarantee to play finals right now. If they were to lose against the Dockers at Optus Stadium on Friday night and then lose against Hawthorn at the Gabba in round 24, and if the Western Bulldogs win both games, they could miss the 8, which is quite remarkable.
It's very interesting that we're so close to the end of the season and there's still so much room for movement. But this game is set to be a bit of a battle of the rising stars, the young guns. Murphy Reid, I heard someone mention the other day that he has the footy IQ of a 200-game player. And Gabbo, I know you love what Levi Ashcroft has been doing. He's been absolutely outstanding this year, very consistent, hasn't he?
He certainly has. I mean, he's come exactly as advertised. They knew what they were getting when they brought him up to join his brother Will at the Brisbane Lions. He's been so consistent, Chad. I mean, he's probably been the most consistent of all the rising star contenders this year, averaging 20 disposals. Had 27 on Saturday against the Swans, coming in for Lachie Neale, getting a bit more inside time. Clearly, that's where he's going to land in the future. I just think when the selectors sit down to go through their 5-4-3, 2 and 1, he might be the one that they've been looking at all year. But there are others, including Murphy Reid, who has had a big splash in his debut season.
Yeah, and I'm going to be biased again, being a small forward. I just know how hard it is early in your career, but if you think about someone that hasn't been only done 6 times, he's kicked 20 goals and had 20 goal assists, score assists, and the last player to do that is Surioli back in 2008, and only 6 players have done this feat. He's kicked 22 goals for the year and 32 score assists. He is 3 goals away from doing something that has never happened in the history of this game in a debut season, which is 25 goals and 25 score assists for the year. So it just shows how potent he's been, and in a team that has got 3 tall timbers, a lot of potency. Going under the radar, I think he is my favourite.
You love a little biased opinion, don't you, Chatty? But look, yeah, they have both been outstanding, and I'm very excited to see how they both perform this weekend. But I know you wanted to have a bit of a chat about someone else who's having a big impact for Fremantle Dockers. Sorrell?
He's been amazing. I just want to go through the stat. There's a stat here that I really love. It's when he averages 28 or more disposals a game, Freo has not lost. So they're 11-0. And when he has 27 or under, they're 4-6. Josh, it just shows how important he's been for the team. And we talk about this a lot. Do we tag Sarong? Do you tag the Dacosses of the world? Who's someone if Brisbane can put to him this weekend?
Well, if you're Chris Fagan, I think Josh Dunkley would be the one that you look at because we've all heard about the Caleb Sarong threshold. You've pointed it out there, 28 disposals. They don't lose. They can't afford to lose this game, clearly. So would you be doing Josh Dunkley? Would you look at Jared Berry? We know Lachie Neale's not in that midfield at the moment. So the balance is a little bit out. What would you do if you're Chris Fagan?
Well, you have to go to him. I think last time he had his career best game. He had 46 disposals.
46
disposals was his career high. He had 10 clearances. And more importantly, they won by 23 points at Optus Stadium. So you'd assume that they need to put some impact into him because Dacos did a number on Brisbane early in the year. you've got to put some, I suppose, a bit more effort into these kind of players who change the game.
Well, speaking of changing the game, and the stakes are certainly very high, this time of the year we see a lot of retirement announcements start rolling in. Nat Fyfe has already announced that the 2025 season will be the last that we see him pull on the purple and white, but there are a few other players who have yet to call it. Do you guys want to jump up and talk us through who else is going to give it their all for the last time, perhaps during this final series?
Well, Megsy, retirement season is in full swing. Nat Fyfe has called time. He'll go through to the end of this season, however far that is. He's got a chance, Chad, to do the Shane Crawford back in 2008 and end his career with a fairy tale premiership medal hanging around his neck. We've identified these names as players that have been on the fringe of selection across this season, but still have a chance at a contender to play a key role in September. Let's start with the dual Brownlow medalist, because he came back in round 22 and he performed in that last quarter against the Adelaide Oval. He looms as the perfect sub for Justin Longmuir.
Well, he's a perfect sub because of his size and the play that he can play in multiple different positions. He can mark the ball, he can play, I suppose, up forward and kick goals. He can prove on the weekend that he can still be potent in the midfield and get the clearances. So he's one of the players that would be perfect as a sub going into the season in September.
Luke Breust also came in round 22. He hadn't played for 12 weeks. He was the sub 12 times in 2024. He's got so much experience. He impacts the scoreboard. Is there a role for him in the finals if they get there?
Again, it's going to come down to what players they've already got in a team. Do you want a player that's going to play multiple roles as a sub? But last year, he kicked a goal in nearly every game that he was as sub. And to have that experience on the bench and to come on and make an impact, he's one of the players that you'd trust wholeheartedly to get that done each week.
Now, the Gold Coast Suns look destined for September for the first time in their history. Dave Swallow has been there since the beginning, and he currently holds the record for most games without a finals appearance, 247 games next to his name. He's still in and around the mark right now, so one to watch across the closing weeks of the season. But I want to talk to you about Mitch Duncan, because he's just come off shoulder surgery. He's missed the last 5 weeks. If you're Chris Scott and he doesn't come back in the home and away season, can you pick him in a final?
Well, I think he's the perfect player for Chris Scott to pick in the final. You think about the body of work that he's done, he has done a shoulder. It's not soft tissue, so he would have been running for a long time. He's one of the people outside of this group that I think can actually play in the back six, not as starting as a sub, because I think he can have that sort of impact. 34 years of age, 9 games in 2025. Maybe he's got more footy left in him in this season. No Adam Treloar on this list, Megsy, but we are keeping an eye on him because he could come back in the VFL as soon as this weekend and put his hand up to play a role in September if the Dogs qualify.
Well, I always love when you two jump up there and give us your insight, but I do want to say whoever does the graphics deserves an absolute raise. They do such a great job with that up there. So thank you so much for that, guys. But as you mentioned, we are at the pointy end now, and this is a massive final shaping battle on the Suns' home deck. I'll be glued to this one because there could be big ramifications, especially for GWS currently sitting 8th on the ladder. Josh, you wrote a piece yesterday on Jake Stringer and how he is likely to miss the remainder of the season due to an injury concern. Can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Well, Megsy, he's going to need to play. The Giants are going to need to play finals for him to play again this year. He's been ruled out for 3, maybe 4 weeks. So even if they get to that first final, he's no guarantee to play in the first week of September. He did his hamstring again. He's done it 3 times this year. But when he has played, Chad, he's been electric. He's up to 25 goals. Even in Canberra on Sunday when he did his hamstring again, kicked 3 goals in the first half. He actually didn't realise he'd done his hamstring in that game. They had a scan, a bit worse than first thought. So no Jake Stringer for the trip up to Queensland this weekend. And maybe no Jesse Hogan. He's missed the last couple with a foot issue, which has been lingering. So he needs to pass a fitness test on Thursday, but they are losing some of their best players at the wrong time of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. But you do speak of being electric, and one player who has been electric, and we're going from one forward line to the other now, that is Ben King. He was a prominent figure in the Common Medal race early in the season. He's sitting second at the moment. What's the latest with him, Chad? I know you love what he's been doing.
Yeah, I love what he's been doing, and I think the biggest knock on him previously in his career was his goal-kicking ability in terms of the potency and accuracy. I mean, that's one thing I really want to touch on. He's kicking at a 66% rate at the moment, which is the best percentage inside the top 30 goal scorers in the competition. 10% better than any other year that he's played in. He's kicked 57 goals for the year right now, which is his career best, and he's second in the Coleman, as you just mentioned, but he's kicked 10 goals in the last 2 weeks, so he's on fire, but he's coming up against a pretty tough opponent this week. And who do you think is going to be able to stop Kingy this week, Josh?
Well, probably Sam Taylor.
Yeah.
I mean, that feels like a blockbuster matchup at People First Stadium, and And as you touched on with Ben King, he's clearly in the hunt for All-Australian selection for the first time. He's been a star for years now, Megsy, and he's having a great 2025.
It's been really exciting to watch what the Gold Coast Suns have been doing this year, but this game is certainly set to provide us with a really tantalising midfield battle as well. And I know that you both have very strong cases for who you think that the better midfield duo might be.
Who's going to start? I reckon I'm going to start. So we got Noah and Matt Rao. They've got 100.
I knew you were going to go with this.
I'm picking the boys. 153 coaches' votes amongst this duo, which is the most amongst a duo in the competition. Matt
Well,
Rao,
they are top two.
They are top two. Matt Rao leads the league in clearances and tackles. Noah Anderson is averaging 30 disposal, which is fourth in the comp. Matt Rao and Noah Anderson are top 15 in score involvement. So yes, they're getting it done at the stoppages. They're also potent in, I suppose, going forward as well. This is the stat that I'm sticking on though. Gold Coast Suns are third in points from stoppages. Gold Coast Suns are also second in clearances differential. Where are GWS? 16th.
Ooh.
So this is going to be a big game for them, and big boy pants on. I think they're going to get the job done.
Hard to argue with any of that, Chad, because they have been superb this year. And there's a reason why they're two of the favourites for the Brownlow Medal. Now, they might pinch votes off each other on that famous night in September. But when it comes to the pair at the Greater Western Sydney Giants, I love what Tom Green and Finn Callaghan are doing as a combination. And Tom Green is someone that doesn't get a great deal of love, but he's the best player in dispute in the competition. Rated number 1 for contested ball, number 1 for ground ball gets in this year. I think he's going under the radar a little bit because he's not as sexy as a Finn Callaghan, who has exploded in 2025 and has become a Rolls Royce in this competition in just his 4th season. So they're going it alone. They don't have much support this year, and that's probably what's going to hurt them on Saturday, Megs.
Yes, indeed. Well, speaking of Saturday night footy, the Adelaide Crows take on Collingwood over at the Adelaide Oval, and the Crows have finals well and truly sealed. The Pies, on the other hand, are bleeding form a little bit at the moment, but they do boast a 10-game winning streak over the Crows, so this will be one to watch. And the Crows, well, they've been in almighty form this season, Gabbo, currently sitting pretty at the top of the ladder, and they're looking very dominant, obviously, to kind of be at this pointy end of the season and have the fierceness that they're approaching each game with. So,
and they're dominant at home, Megsy.
Exactly.
That's the key here for them, because they are looking at a top 2 finish, and what that means is clearly 2 home finals, paving the way to get to the MCG. And you look at their record this year, 11-1 at home. It's their best record since they moved from Footy Park to the Adelaide Oval over a decade ago. And their average winning margin at home is just under 40 points. It's quite incredible how dominant they've been at that ground. The only loss this year was to Geelong back in Gather Round, so they've won their past 9 games. They are humming. It's going to be a big task for Collingwood to go across to South Australia and beat them there.
It is going to be a tough battle indeed, Gabbo and Chatty. I know that Collingwood, they've had some defensive woes this last little bit, haven't they?
Yeah, and it's a very specific region where they're having a bit of a breakdown. It's their tall defenders. You think about, I just want to go over some of the stats that have happened recently against their tall defenders. You see Voss and Amos kick 9 goals, Morris and Smith 9, Gunston, Chol and Meekie, the tall timber there, kicked 10 combined as well. And they're coming up against probably the hardest task, Gabbo, in the competition at the moment with the 3-headed monster. They average over 6 goals a game between them. So they need to probably lift in that area, because that's, I suppose, a part of the game where teams are starting to really attack.
And a huge area of concern for Craig McRae will be no Jeremy Howe again, obviously clearly in concussion protocols after what happened early against the Hawks. So the task, Megsy, doesn't get any easier, going across to try and stop the 3-headed monster without one of your best key defenders.
Indeed. And speaking of tough tasks, it is Sunday over at the SCG. And Brodie Grundy, well, he's been ruled out this weekend against the Cats due to a nasty collision that happened with less than 5 minutes to play. So now he needs to follow concussion protocols, doesn't he, Gabbo?
He certainly does, Megsy. I mean, this one is an interesting one because it happened with just under 4 minutes to go in this game on Saturday. He passed the HIA in the rooms. He was cleared of a neck issue. He had one back in 2021. Woke up on Sunday morning, fine. Cleared a concussion test before the flight, but then presented some delayed concussion symptoms on Sunday afternoon, and by that evening they put a line through him for this weekend. They expect him to only miss the 1 game. No Justin McInerney for the rest of the season, but Brodie Grundy's been in All-Australian form, so it is a blow for them.
It is a big blow having someone like him out, but you can catch the live Coles goal during the Swans and Cats game on Sunday afternoon on 7. Right, guys, the 2025 AFLW season is set to kick off this weekend. 10 seasons in now, and the game and the talent has evolved so much. There are always plenty of new recruits coming in, offering so much spice and flair. And then, of course, you've got your pioneers, the OGs, who have really shaped the league to what it is today. So we have put this week's top 5 list together, and that is players to keep an eye on this season, which, to be honest, was a very hard task to do. So make sure, we're going to kick it off now, and that is going to be with the great, amazing Georgie Prasparkas for the catch. She's been absolutely outstanding during her tenure in the AFLW season, and she is going to make a massive impact in season 2025.
She's such a jet. Love watching her play, and love watching Chloe Malloy. Can't wait to see the comeback season for the Star Swan. Obviously had the knee reconstruction early last season, wiped out all of that year essentially, so she looks good to come back and fire for the Swans. She's one of the most electrifying players in the competition, Chad.
She certainly brings a whole lot of energy, doesn't she? And while we're on the Sydney Swans, we've cheated a little bit here and we've broken this number 3 into 2. Zippy Fish, we couldn't go past what Zippy Fish has been doing. She's a new recruit, undoubtedly one of the most exciting players to watch. A smaller midfielder, she cuts and weaves and she's so fast. But then, of course, there's Ash Centra as well, Chaddy.
Yeah, who's #1 draft pick this year, and talk about pressure, and she's obviously got that number pick for a reason. So she is going to be super exciting to watch again.
Speaking of super exciting, I love this woman so much, Jasmine Garner. She is absolutely incredible. Arguably the best player in the league, let alone at North Melbourne. The new skipper this year. She's strong, she's smart, she's skilled, she's consistent. 7-time All-Australian, 5-time club champion, now premiership player. She's incredible.
And to finish with #1, Ebony Marinoff. What more can you say about this lady? She's been absolutely superstar. She won the AFLW's BNF last year, 3-time premiership player, 7 All-Australians, and she's the equal game holder for the AFLWs. I mean, she led the league in tackles, disposals at inside 50s at the age of 27. What a superstar she is.
Indeed, she is absolutely incredible. Can't wait to see what season 10 has to offer. And by the way, make sure you catch up on all the AFLW news on the AFL Women's app or on the website. Now, it is Sunday, Arvo Footy and North Melbourne take on Richmond over at Ninja Stadium in Hobart, which brings us to this week's player portrait.
Well, Megsy, of all the debutants in 2025, only one was still playing local footy in the Eastern Footy League in April and May before being picked in the mid-season rookie draft. Cooper Trenbath burst onto the AFL scene on Sunday and has a story worth exploring. Now, the 19-year-old spent last year on the VFL list at Arden Street, but didn't play a game due to injuries. Tom Lynch, the Kangaroos reserves coach, told him to focus on his condition in his exit meeting, and it really hit home. He set his alarm for 4 a.m. every weekday to get up and swim laps or lift weights at the gym in Ringwood before starting his day as an apprentice plumber. Early season form as a defender at Blackburn caught the eye of North's recruiting team, including Liam Shields, who played against him on Anzac Day when he was playing for South Croydon. And when he kicked 3 goals in his one and only VFL game before the mid-season draft, the Kangaroos thought they had won. In round 22, Trenbath kicked 3 again, this time for Alistair Clarkson's team, up against GWS and Giant star Sam Taylor at Manuka Oval. His mates were all there to watch him after getting up at 4 a.m. on Sunday morning to drive from Melbourne to Canberra. And his family watched on in the stands, including his grandma, who is not only a 50-year Western Bulldogs member, she also wanted another unforgettable memory from a special weekend for the Trenbath family. She wanted a photo with Caleb Daniel, her favourite player, and she got one. She'll now be heading to Tasmania to watch her grandson in Game 2 in Hobart this weekend. Now, if Sunday was anything to go from, there'll be plenty more to come from Cooper Trenbath.
Well, the last game of the round, we'll see the Dogs take on the West Coast Eagles over at Marvel Stadium. Gabbo, talk us through it.
Well, clearly the Western Bulldogs will go in as heavy favourites, and some see a triple figure drubbing coming for the Eagles. I want to talk to you, though, about a West Coast player that wasn't on the list until the end of May. Incredible story with Tom McCarthy. He's a 25-year-old who not until last year was a lock at VFL level, and right now across his first 8 games in the AFL, he's averaging 24.3 disposals. It ranks 8th all-time since Champion Data started recording these stats. And have a look, Chad, at some of these names. If you're a fantasy player, you would know all of these names, including the Brad Dalziels and the Liam Anthonys of the world. Michael Barlow burst out of the blocks before he broke his leg, of course, in his debut season. But what Tom McCarthy is doing first up is quite amazing, and he's a metres gained gun, isn't he? He's averaging 510 metres gained per game. Now, does take a lot of kick-ins, but he's damaging by foot as well. He's been a sensation coming out of the mid-season draft.
Yeah, and he like I said, a player that's come in and just impacts straight away, which is hard to do, and in that position, in a team that's struggling as well. So just shows that he's ready for that level, ready for that level, and he's playing so well at the moment. So it's a great find for West Coast.
Well, talking about sensations, we're getting to that pointy end of the season, of course, and everyone's starting to talk all things Brownlow. And there are some standout favourites, aren't there, with the Brownlow Medal this year. But I know you two have a few players that you want to talk a little bit about. So I reckon you should get up and have a little chat to us about it at the wall.
You're right, Megsy. September is almost upon us, but with 2 rounds to go in the 2025 home and away season, there's still a lot on the line when it comes to the most prestigious individual award in the competition. Chad, clearly, these are the top 5 favourites right at this point in time. Nick Dacos, Jordan Dawson, Bailey Smith, and the 2 at the Gold Coast Suns, who are 1 and 2 in the Coaches Award right now, Noah Anderson and Matt Rao. But you and I want to talk about 2 other names that are just beyond this group that are smokies at this point in time with 2 rounds to play. Let's start with Nazai Wanganeen-Milera, because he's been a sensation in his 4th season in the game. Have a look at these 2. I'm going to get to Ed Richards. You're going to talk about Naz, of course. I mean, they've only won 8 games, St Kilda, and usually you need to win a lot more games than that to win the Brownlow Medal. But can he do it? Can he actually take Charlie home in September?
Yeah, well, we've broken down a few of the games where we think he's going to poll. 8 games, we're going to go on average, he's going to get 2.5 votes because that's how potent he's been, which gets you to 20 votes. There's 13 games there which they've lost, where maybe you can steal 1 or 2 votes. You very quickly get to 30 votes, and that's when he's starting to contend. You think about how potent he's been and how impressive has he been, especially since being in the midfield, Josh.
Well, I think, Chad, we can lock him in for 9 votes for the last 3 games. They've gone back to back to back, 3 wins. It's been quite incredible what he's done as a midfielder. Clearly, that's a sign of things to come in his future. But he was a star at half-back across the first 4 months of the season, and I dare say he's going to poll some votes there.
Yes, and he was. He's leading the league in metres game, which over 660 metres, which is super potent. And he's 6th again in the coaches' votes, which show how much he's been rewarded from the coaches.
I hope the umpires recognise him this year, like I do with Ed Richards, Chad, because this guy's been a revelation across the last 18 months since he's transitioned from halfback to an inside mid. He's a champion data darling. He's the number 1 rated player in the competition. And we look at his numbers here. 11 times he's collected 20+ ratings points, which is just completely off the charts. He's not a big accumulator like some of the names we just went through. He's all damage. He's maximum damage, isn't he?
He's super potent. He's actually leading the league in goal assists. He's leading the league in score involvements as well. So you see the amount, I suppose, impact he has with his goals as well. So he's been super impressive for him. And again, he's been underneath Bontempelli, Darcy, the limelight of the Bulldogs at the moment. But he's the player that is performing week in, week out for the whole season.
Don't forget Marcus Bontempelli missed the first 5 games of the year. So if he gets off to a quick start on Brownlow night, he might take some stopping at the back end. But Megsy, that's what we're thinking when it comes to the most prestigious individual award in the competition.
Well, it is very, very exciting. And I know you're a big fan of Ed Richards. You've been talking about him a lot. But I love that you two have added Nazai Wanganeen-Milera in there, because he is an absolute young star. And if it isn't his this year, then I'm sure he will be able to claim it at some stage, because what he has been doing has been absolutely incredible. Now, speaking of incredible, we're going to whip around and cover the last couple of games of the round over at the MCG, Hawthorn versus Melbourne.
Yeah, I'm looking at the ruck battle. I know it's pretty easy when you've got Gawn versus Meek, but they're both coming off probably BOG performances. Meek obviously had 3 goals last week and really put him to the sword, and Gawn is gone. So I can't wait to see them 2 go head-to-head. And
then Carlton v Port Adelaide, Gabbo, over at Marvel Stadium. What can we expect from that?
Well, I've got an unusual name that I'm looking forward to watching play, because Cooper Lord in the past fortnight has done 2 amazing jobs, one on Caleb Sarong, one on Noah Anderson, kept them both 19 disposals in those games, and he's found plenty of the footy himself. He used to do this role when he played for Scotch College alongside Jagger Smith, so he's been tagging for a long time. He's played a lot of footy under Michael Voss this year, been a great recruit out of last year's mid-season draft, and I dare say with Port coming up, it could be Zach Butters. Zach Butters has been gettable in the last few weeks.
Well, we're going to take it to Friday night, and we've got St Kilda taking on the Dons, and St Kilda will be looking to turn their 3-game winning streak into 4. Essendon, well, geez, haven't they been battling with injury woes this season? What do you make of that one?
Well, the injury crisis, Megsy, it's got even worse this week, because Zach Merritt was scheduled to play his 250th game on Friday night, Chad. That has been put on hold for at least a week. So he broke his hand against the Cats. He had hand surgery earlier this week. So he misses one. Ideally, they hope for him to come back next Thursday night against Carlton, but his milestone is on hold.
That's a tough one for the big skipper to be at when you miss that leadership link through the ground. So, yes, it will be interesting to see how that all plays out. But that is it from us for round 23. Thank you for joining us. We will be back, but big thank you as well, as always, to Coles.